I am honestly shocked at how many people will tell me they're not ready for PR. And then they make a bunch of excuses like, well, I'm redoing my website, or I need to update my LinkedIn, or I'm not making enough money, or I don't have a big enough team, or if I got busy from the media exposure, I don't know how I would handle that business. And it's all bullshit. Like, I honestly didn't know this was a thing until I launched my online course. Because obviously at the agency, we're working with bigger businesses. They've worked with PR agencies before. Like, they know the name of the game. But there are so many insecurities with people who are just starting. Maybe they're solopreneurs, maybe they have a side hustle. And it like is the one thing that makes me angry, because it is so not a true thing. It is a false belief. And I feel like some of that doubt actually proves how beneficial media exposure is. Because when you see people on the news, when you hear them as a guest on a top podcast, when you see them contributing to a place like Inc. magazine, you probably think, oh, they're there because they're a big deal, they have a big business, they have a team, they're making lots of money, this isn't just something they do on the side. Like, that's your perception because you're seeing them earn media exposure. But the truth is, they're earning media exposure because they put themselves out there and they said yes to the interview. Look at how many scammers and con artists and just complete idiots have earned media exposure. I mean, I just got done watching, I know I'm a few years late here, but I watched the Hulu documentary about WeWork. Like, that man who built WeWork, he like conned very smart people into giving him billions and billions and billions of dollars. He had all kinds of crazy media exposure. And it's just because he put himself out there and he had the confidence to do so. So regardless of where you are in your business, you can do this 100%. All you need is a good story and a good pitch idea. You, honest to God, don't even need relationships. Yes, relationships help, just like anything in any business. A good relationship with somebody on the inside is helpful. I have tons of relationships with people at many media outlets. But you know what? If my story sucks, if my pitch isn't good, it doesn't matter. They're not going to do the story. I may get the pitch to them a little quicker than if I emailed other people. I may get the pitch to them a little quicker than if I just was in their inbox with a whole bunch of other people in the general, email inbox. But still, if it's not a good story, it's not gonna get covered. So if you wanna know the 2 ways that you know if you are ready for PR, it's pretty simple. Number 1, do you have an expertise to share? Do you have a product to sell? Do you have a problem that you solve? That's the first thing. Because if you don't have anything to talk about, any expertise, if you don't have a product to share, if you don't have a solution to a problem that somebody has, then you're not gonna have anything to share. Like, you're not offering anybody any value. So really, we could sum up that one point by saying, do you have any value to offer anybody? I guarantee you, you do. And a lot of times with like the expertise part, we don't feel like we're experts in what we do because it's so like second nature to us. We do it all day, every day. But I promise, you are an expert in something. If you do the same thing every day, you're an expert in it. And there's such an easy way to become an expert in things today. Like, look at all the online courses we have. Look at Masterclass, look at books. I'm a book nerd. So like, there are so many ways to become an expert in something. And you don't need to know everything about everything. You just need to be a couple steps ahead of the person that you are offering value to. If you haven't yet, I want you to go back and listen to the episode or watch the YouTube video from April 4th, where I talk about imposter syndrome and how you can overcome it in just 15 minutes. Again, because this whole I'm not ready for PR thing is such like a big deal. It's so prevalent, especially with women and especially with those small business owners who are side hustling or they're like under $50,000 a year. I had to create this episode and I had to include it in my boot camp, Pitch Publicity Profit. It's in hour 1. So if you think, oh, I'm not an expert in this or I'm not ready, even after I tell you this over and over and over again, then make sure you listen to that episode that I dropped on April 4th. There's also a YouTube video. If you're a visual learner, then definitely check that out on my YouTube channel. And number 2, do you have a place to send potential leads? This could be a lead magnet. I have a few. I've mentioned Pitch Publicity Profit. That's my boot camp. If you go there, you can opt in, you can take the boot camp, and you're also on my email list. You can visit 16places.com. I mentioned this in the last episode last week when I talked about contributing. That's free. You get a free PDF of 16 high quality outlets that are accepting contributors. Do you have something like that? Do you have a website, a phone number? Even social media will work. Like, we all can have an Instagram channel or a Facebook page. So you could be on a podcast, and if the host says, okay, where can people find out more? If somebody wants to find out more about you, and if they want to work with you, you could say, hey, I'm at Christina all day on Instagram. And they can send you a DM, and you can have a sales conversation. Or even if you're not ready for that, they can be on a wait list for when you are ready to have a sales conversation. Even if you have a brick and mortar, like your address, that is where you can send people. So you just have to have somewhere to send people, because that's the point of earning this media exposure. It's not to look cool. It's not to mock up a fake Forbes cover and put it on Facebook and impress strangers on the internet. This is actually to get attention, to get leads, and then to turn those leads into sales, okay? So the attention to leads part, you have to have a place to capture those leads. And that's it. That's literally the two things that you need to earn exposure. Those are the two things you need to pitch the media to earn exposure. It's honest to God that easy. So one, you need to have some kind of expertise, some kind of value to offer somebody. Two, you need a way to bring those people into your ecosystem after they see you on another platform that is already known, liked, and trusted, okay? Remember, attention to leads to sales. This is business 101. This is how it works. I am not down with sales. Like, I am not going to teach you the nitty-gritty. I can tell you what I do and what works for me, but I think I'm better suited to teach you how to get attention and turn that attention into leads. That is literally step one. If you don't have attention, you're not getting leads and you're not making sales. So if you have a leads problem, you probably have an attention problem. If you have a sales problem, then you have a leads problem and an attention problem. And I'm here to help you get more attention. Number one, have value to offer, a problem to solve. Number two, have a place to drive those people so you can continue the conversation with them after they see you in that outlet, whether that be a podcast, an email newsletter you subscribe to, an article online, a 2-minute TV segment, a little blurb in a newspaper, whatever it is. Take that attention, turn it into leads. That's it. And those are the two things that you need to make this happen and to start pitching yourself. If you still have doubts, Lord God, you're driving me crazy if you still have doubts. But I will link to the podcast episode and the YouTube video that I talked about when I referenced overcoming imposter syndrome. I'm also going to link to a couple of those lead magnets that I talked about, my Pitch Publicity Profit Bootcamp and my 16places.com, so you can become a contributor. That maybe will give you some ideas of some things that you can create. If you don't have a lead magnet yet, then that'll give you an idea of something that you could create. But I promise you, those are the two things that you need before you start pitching yourself or working with a VA to pitch you, or even hiring a freelance publicist. It's that easy. If you haven't yet tapped that follow button in your podcast app, be sure to do that now. Also, tap that subscribe button if you are watching this on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me here on Media Maven. I will see you again next week.